And we are live. Gentlemen, welcome to the Sling'N Lead Podcast. I'm TJ.
And I'm Kent.
Man, it's been too long.
It has. And your connection is still deplorable.
It's still garbage, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Wait. Now that I spoke about it, it got better.
I can't fix my face, bro.
No.
What you see is what you get.
I kind of still have this like bulldog face going where I have like jowls kind of.
You'll get there. You just got to give it time.
I don't think that's a thing. The problem is I lost all the fat in my head. So all the weight just fell down.
Say you lost it.
Right.
Relocated it, maybe.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
That's why we do a podcast so nobody can see our actual bodies.
God, I have booze. Hey, young,
you and me both, brother. So what's new with you, bud?
Dude, I think they know I started BJJ Jiu-Jitsu. As James refers to it, dad jitsu, or dog jitsu. He thinks jitsu is the thing that, like, you say who's doing it, and then you add jitsu. So we have dad jitsu, mom jitsu, James jitsu, dog jitsu, and my personal favorite, shih tzu jitsu, for when Sweetie does jujitsu.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, so so Young's telling me that that even they can hear the echoing.
I don't know what to say. Is there a Chinese weather balloon above us?
Not anymore.
Well, not that you know of. Definitely a weather balloon.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what we could do to help with this echo, but.
Seagram 7, Young.
Four roses, single barrel.
On the rocks. And water. In my own custom embroidered K for Kent water bottle, I might add. From Limitless Laserworks. Yeah, that's the thing. So, let's see. Jiu-Jitsu. Shooting matches, teaching private lessons, relocated the office in my house so that everything's on one floor, shooting a revolver, that sucks, shooting a revolver really, really sucks, got Rangemaster Tactical Conference coming up here in 3-4 weeks or whatever that is, flying out to Texas for that one. Yeah. All pretty cool stuff. Young might be coming.
Oh, that'll be cool.
I don't know. I feel like Young's been to TACCON a couple times. I don't know if he's coming this time or not, but.
So, wild idea, buddy. Do you have headphones by chance?
I mean, sure, I can go grab headphones. We've never had this problem before, though.
This is the first 129 episodes.
Is it really? Because I guess I know I'm the problem because I'm the only one not hearing the problem. Is that how we know?
Potentially. Let me try something.
Wait, hold on. Young, when are you going to Master Instructor? Young and I might be going to the same Master Instructor class. That'd be pretty cool.
How about now? Nope, still echo. Testing.
Testing.
I think the echo's happening.
Now I'm looking up when I'm going to Master Instructor class.
Okay, how about no, that's easy. Now? Damn it. Why is this happening?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what. Can't entertain the folks. I'm going to reboot my system. We'll see if that works.
Okay, I'll hang out. I'm going to tell Young when I'm coming to Range Master. Wherever that is, somewhere. Why won't my calendar work, Young? I swear to God, I have this on the calendar. There it comes. Master Firearms Instructor Development Course. Buford, Georgia is where I'm going. July 21. So I'll be in Buford, Georgia in July. That's the deal. Yeah, that would have been cool, Young. Yeah, so I'll be in Buford, Georgia for it. So you'll well, there you go. You'll have your Range Master development thing done before I will. So I'll schedule to do it before, but snafus and whatnot. TJ's rebooting. So yeah, we're gonna talk tonight about the kind of stuff you should keep in your truck, car, Jeep, whatever. Survival gear, how many guns, how much ammo, all that craziness. I think you probably know us by now. We're way more pragmatic than to be worrying about the guns and ammo first. So we're going to talk about like food and water and coffee and tools and phone chargers and backup cell phones. Yeah, Everclear. Everclear is a good call. That kind of shit. So, Young, you managed to pick the only TACCon not to come to, and the wrong. You and I are just going to miss each other at all the Range Master things. The question is, when you come to Pennsylvania, or when you want me to come to wherever you are. I forget where you are, by the way. No offense. Well, I'll tell you this much. Dead air sucks. So I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the survival gear and like kind of the genesis for this topic. So this is a thing really that the missus and I have been doing since, well, Vermont, right? Green Mountain Defense is called Green Mountain because it started in Vermont. We used to drive all over the place. Wintertime, camping trips, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Bottom line is, hey, man, like, you're going to be far away from people. You should have some stuff in your car, Jeep, truck, whatever. So, started pretty innocuous, like, hey, you should have a blanket. Hey, you should have some water. Hey, you should have some tools. Hey, you should have a shovel. These sorts of things. These days, the Green Mountain Defense, truck that stays in the garage, other than to leave for GMD purposes, is basically a traveling kick-ass camper wagon, right? This thing's got a rooftop tent on it. It's got all the camping gear in the back you could possibly need. It's got water on it at all times. It's got stuff to make fire. It's got solar power. It's got a freaking satellite Garmin inReach set up in it. All the things, right? Now, admittedly, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, who lives in regular old USA suburbia and lives a normal life and doesn't have use for all that stuff, is probably not cruising around like I am. Albeit, I'll be honest, kind of overtly, right? Like a rig like that certainly attracts some attention. But other than for being kind of sort of built, if you looked at my wife's Jeep, you wouldn't maybe make all those assumptions. And yet, I will tell you that she's pretty squared away in the survival stash and gear and all that department too. So we're going to kind of talk through some of the stuff you might want to have, some of the stuff that is a good idea, some of the paradigms that might come up in this kind of conversation, i.e. like Are you setting up to put gear in your vehicle so that if you need to, you can carry stuff on your back and get to safety? Or are you setting up your vehicle to be as amenable to long-term survival as possible, i.e. staying in and around the vehicle for your own personal survival and setup and well-being? So those are kind of different things, right? Like, for example, my truck has a bag in it. The Go bag, right? The super duper tactical cool guy thing. But really, most of the stuff that's set up in my truck is set up in such a manner that it's meant to be reached into, grabbed out of its compartment, used where it is, and put back away, because the truck is designed to be its own camp. There's kind of sort of no reason to have all the stuff be man portable necessarily. Comparing that to, Sophie's Jeep that she's got Homeboy in, and her and little man are driving around, he's in a car seat and all that, maybe they're not as well equipped to stay in that thing, but they're certainly equipped to throw on some sneakers and some hikers and whatever, and throw the bags on their backs and go for a walk to safety if they need. So I'm going to talk through kind of some of those differences, the paradigms that come along with those things, and what makes one different than the other, right? So, for example, in a portable system, water purification might be a little more important than water storage. Whereas, for me, hey man, just have some water in and on the truck. That sort of a thing. So let's talk first about, I'll go ahead and I'll start talking about communications. Who are we communicating with? What's our purpose? Who do we have to reach out to? What are the means of powering those communications? All that kind of stuff. So you could talk cellular, you talk satellite, you could talk radio. Those are my primary modes of communication for this kind of a system. For example, Garmin InReach goes on every hike, every hunt, every gun class. Every time I go somewhere that's outside of the normal beaten paradigm, I have a Garmin InReach because, well, I pretty well need to be able to hit a oh shit SOS helicopter button and get some help if I need to, right? The Garmin InReach also makes it nice because you can send digital text messaging out to SMS. So when I'm out somewhere, for a hunt or something like that, and I want to just send a prefab, hey honey, I'm okay, everything's fine. This is my current location. My next check-in window will be 6-8 hours, 4 hours, whatever. All I have to do is hit one button and send that prefab message. Wait about 5 minutes for that to go through on the satellite. Wait a couple minutes for her response. Within 15 minutes or so, I can know that she knows I'm good. I can get her reply. She can tell me that she and my little guy are also good and everything's fine. And we can kind of kissy poo off, and I can say, all right, hon, love you, see you, bye. We'll talk in the morning. And that's all a prefab text message stream that goes off of the Garmin InReach. That's a really nice feature. Obviously, the emergency communication is a nice feature, and the navigation is a nice feature. So InReach is pretty cool for comms. I really like that a lot. Can be powered off of the 12 volt in the truck, can be powered off the 12 volt in the Jeep, can be powered off of one of the portable power stations from Goal Zero. And of course, the portable power station from Goal Zero can be powered right off the solar or right off of shore power in like a campground or something like that. And all that can be pre-powered up ahead of a trip. So if you're only going to be gone for a couple of days, pretty good chance that you might actually not need any of that at all. So that works out pretty cool. So that's the first means and mode of comms. Second one is cellular, and a couple of things to think about cellular. For one, two is not one and one is none when it comes to cell phones. They're pretty fragile. Service, sporadic, spotty, all that kind of stuff. They stay charged forever these days, right? They're pretty robust in terms of like physical breakage, but I actually keep a secondary iPhone that's able to take a pre-programmed physical SIM card, and I keep that in the truck and in the emergency vehicle so that, on a long trip or whatever, if my primary means of communication goes down, I can switch to a secondary cell phone. The wife can know I'm okay. And just, you can literally pop SIM card and go and still communicate on your regular phone number. So it's not as much of a pain in the arse. So that kind of works out good to have a backup cell. Again, all those same means of power apply, 12 volt and cell back or, battery cell backups and the solar. So that all works out pretty nice. And then, of course, point-to-point radio use, right? Like TJ and I did our Jeep trip, and we're just kind of like back and forth, off of some Midland handhelds and whatever like that, just to be able to communicate on a trip where you don't want to be on a phone call, you don't want to be draining battery. Maybe you're staying in and around camp or whatever like that, and you want to be able to reach out to comms. That's kind of another third little nicety that we would always have set up in a vehicle, so that way you can reach out to members of a team or a group or a unit or whatever. Again, Jeep trip, something as simple as like, this doesn't all have to be some crazy pants, awesome tactical application. Like, hey guys, we're going for a Jeep trip, and the people in the Jeeps want to be able to talk to each other and like talk shit, be silly pants about the obstacles and stuff. So, do you want to be on the phone all day, or do you want to like pop, beep, pop, boop? I really like some of the Garmin GPSs because they have that GMRS radio feature already built into them, so they can talk amongst each other and to, talk GMRS radios and to be able to talk to, what do you want to call it? Each other on the Garmin InReach network on like the point-to-point thing. So that's pretty cool. I enjoy being able to use all that stuff. Of course, I travel with iPads, laptops as business requires, stuff like that. Cameras for gun classes and video footage and camping and hiking trips and hunts and whatever. Man, bottom line is like between batteries, for all this different stuff, you gotta have some power capability. That's where that Goal Zero stuff really comes into play. It's nice to be able to camp and be out for a couple days and never have a headlamp go down, never have a flashlight battery die, never be out of power. It's pretty cool. So we have those Yeti Goal Zero solar panels, like the big ones, the big old, Mr. Roboto box. It's about, I'm looking at what am I looking at? I don't know, 25, 26-inch monitor in front of me. And the box fills up. It's about 2/3 the size of this monitor. It's about this big, So that's not too terrible big. And you can power that thing up. And, those Goal Zero boxes, they'll charge up. I can't tell you how many iPads, how many cell phones, how many computers, before they ever have any kind of serious problems. And they work out really good that way. So here's a thumbs up to Yeti and the Goal Zero products. They work out real nicely, and you can rely on that kind of power base and power station to source all your power needs. That works out pretty cool. As long as you keep it, I find it makes more sense to charge it while you're driving on the 12 volt rather than to charge like the individual devices. That way you don't have to worry about stuff. So it comes out pretty good. I just realized I might have to add you. You got me back?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I got you. You on mobile?
Yeah, my damn computer is taking its sweet time rebooting, so we're gonna have to go a little bit more archaic to this, but didn't want to leave you hanging.
Oh, good. You got a droid by your face. There's a droid like right there. You see the droid? Oh, wait, bring it back. I kind of like it.
That's my microphone. That's what I used to do normally. Good podcast with you, but
no fun. All right, good audio, no echo. That's solid. So I was talking about comms and power. I think you know that because I saw you.
Yeah, I was able to follow along while we were having a bit of a hiatus, right? Yeah, I mean, look, the comms piece is absolutely critical, guys. You'll often hear communications referred to in a PACE plan. Primary, alternate, contingency, emergency, right? Primary, cell phones, all good in the hood, right? An alternate, can't, like you already mentioned, the maybe a burner phone or a Garmin InReach, with the pre-canned text messages, things like that, right? But what's our contingency and what's our emergency after that? Contingency could be a CB radio, something that has a bit less range to it. GMRS, I would say, falls under the category of either, it could either be an alternate or a contingency. But then for emergency, you're probably looking at like visual signals, right? If you're in a true emergency situation, you have to resort to that element of your PACE plan. It's probably bad enough that you've hit that SOS button on the Garmin InReach, and you're going to need, rescue efforts to be able to find your ass. So, chem lights, glow sticks on the end of a string, whizzing above your head. That actually is a signal for helicopters. It's not illegal to own certain visual signal devices like smoke grenades and things like that. While I doubt you can get military grade smoke grenades and things like that, you can certainly get some pretty significant civilian grade smoke signals and things like that. So these are all things I think that are worth considering. You worked in the skiing industry, right? What are some of the things, just along the lines of the communication plan, what are some of the things that you guys had looked for, or whatever have you?
Ski World for me. Now, I mean, I was in a Northeast resort, right? So avalanche beacons are a thing, although we were pretty devoid of avalanches. Not so many avalanches, but avalanche beacons are a thing. Obviously, like reflective clothing, stuff like that, headlamps. Why is there a light over there? There shouldn't be any light over there. That's odd. Maybe that's where people need help. Something as simple as, the universal signal of I need help is getting up to the trailhead and crossing 2 ski poles on the trailhead. That means there's some fucked up shit on the other end of this trailhead that we need attention at. So if somebody was to just simply be able to climb up to the top of a trail or the top of a trail intersection and cross 2 ski poles, if you're out cruising around, you're like, cross poles. Let's go see what's going on over there.
Right.
So that and of course, if you're the asset, now you've got the radio and you've got the additional ability to reach out and say, hey, everybody, we got some cross ski poles down here, and you can help out. So that's the kind of stuff you see. A lot of times you'll see, like something I picked up from some of the grungier, like Vermont hiker hippie cats was, we did a lot of canoe and kayak trips, and it's pretty common to just pull up onto the beach on one side of an island and dock all your boats on one side of an island and then camp there. One of the things that somebody turned me onto up there was to universally dock a boat on all 4 corners of the island. Like if you had more than one kayak, put one kayak on the north side, one on east, one on west, and one on south. That way anybody approaching from any angle can see that there's boaters docked up on that island. Never thought of that. We were out there camping and we had, 3 kayaks and 2 canoes, and they were all on the same side of the island. And, old crusty game warden fellow was like, hey man, do me a favor. Next time you bring a group of people out here, put a boat on every side of the island so we know you're here no matter which way we look from. Never even thought of that. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah. My computer came back on, so I'm going to try to jump over there.
Okay. Nobody wants to see my face. Oh, that's much better. Thank God. That looks so ugly. Stupid, ugly. Oh, there, so much better. You're stupid and ugly, Ken. Nobody wants to see your face, not by yourself. I think you're back now.
Can you hear me now?
Uh-huh.
And no echo.
Hey.
Hey, I'm an IT guy still. Yes. All right, cool. Sorry about that, folks, but appreciate the patience as always. Look, it's the cost of doing shit on live, right?
I can't wait till our podcast switches to us going, and we are recorded. Welcome, everybody.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That actually did strike me the other day, because as I process these videos that we do, whenever we do these live shows, like I capture all the audio.
Right.
So like even people listening on the podcast after the fact are hearing that, and we're live when we're actually not. It is what it is.
Fuck 'em.
So
fine.
But
and
yeah,
we were live.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we were live. Yeah, it's thank God it's Friday. That's all I can say.
Yeah. So I ended with multiple boats on different sides of the island. I think honestly, one of the things that kind of always strikes me, the good camper, bad camper, friendly neighbor camper kind of thing, just to visually establish your campsite a little bit. Number one, to let people know, like, hey, be really polite if you do decide you're going to come out here and fuck around and you are going to camp and whatever, be pretty polite of you not to camp right the fuck over here, for one.
Yeah.
And for two, I don't know. If I'm in the middle of the 100-acre or 1,000-acre woods in my case, it's nice to know that there's another Winnie the Pooh on the other ridge.
Well, with your luck, that other Winnie the Pooh is actually going to be a grizzly.
No,
and I don't mean your dog.
My dog named Grizzly. He's a good boy.
He is.
Boy. He's silly pants. Yeah, just kind of like sometimes we would skylight camp a little bit just to kind of make it obvious, like, hey man, we're over here, that kind of thing. So that's
real quick. I haven't actually heard that term before. Can you break that? Can you define that for skylight camping? What's that?
Skylight your camp. So get some piece of human-made gear on a ridge line so that people can see that you're on that ridge line.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So making it abundantly clear.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm over here.
There's people here.
Yeah. Hey, I'm over here, right?
Yeah, actually, as a matter of fact, there is one thing that I used to use in the military. It's called a VS17 panel, or Visual Signal 17. I wonder, I'm going to jump on the internet real quick and see if something like that is available. I believe it would be. It's not super classified or anything like that.
That's how you signal the aliens, right?
Yeah, something like that. Oh, actually, as a matter of fact, it is. So, military, general issue U.S. Army VS-17 panel. So it's a big nylon tarp, usually 3 foot by 5 foot, maybe a little bit larger than that. And looking on Amazon, they're available for $20. It's neon orange on one side, neon pink on the other. Right? That's a perfect thing to lay on top of a vehicle. Or up on top of a ridgeline. It could be a flag. It could be a panel marker on top of a vehicle or anything like that. I think that's certainly something worth adding to your truck bag.
Yeah.
And honestly, can we address something? I hate the term "go bag."
So we by saying myself and I were just talking about that while you're predisposed. So I laid out some ground rules and some terms and some stuff. So one of the things I talked about was whether or not your setup is meant to be vehicle centric. In other words, like if you look at my truck, it's the camping truck, right?
Yes, it very much is. Yeah, and by the way, just for the record, like guys, there's a reason that Kent and I wanted to talk about this. Like, I've gone camping with Kent. Like, the dude has everything that one would need in order to do this. And what honestly inspired this episode was, a couple of things. Number one, my Jeep is pretty well outfitted. right? I've got saddlebags for it. I've got cooking implements, and we'll get to that stuff in a minute. I've got extra clothes, et cetera, et cetera. But like my other vehicles aren't so much set up. They're more suburbanite type. I've got enough tools to make some repairs and whatnot. But sustainability, like I've got all these extra bags. I've got U.S. military issue 3-day assault packs. I've got other bags and stuff that I could probably repurpose to keep one in each vehicle. And I got to thinking, like, what are some of the things that I really should have in every vehicle, regardless of where I'm going? But also, and Kent, I do want us to talk about this. Me and the family are going to Colorado for next weekend, as a matter of fact. So, by the way, no show next week. But I also want us to address, like, hey, when you're traveling, you have to fly somewhere, and you're in a rental vehicle. Like, what are some things that we can do? We'll get to that later on, but yeah, I hate the idea of a go bag because that applies. Hey, now. Let's be clear about something. While I hate the term go bag, a sustainability bag or being equipped to sustain yourself and those with you is important. Whether you're going to stay with the vehicle or not, you should equip yourself to prepare for both situations, as Kent kind of mentioned, right? You're either going to stay with the vehicle where you have more sustainability and maybe beat feet if you absolutely have to. Right. Hey, we've expended all things. Like, we've lived out of the vehicle for 2 or 3 days, however long that sustains you. But like, if we don't get out of here, we're not going to make it. Right. Am I thinking about that right, Kent?
Yeah. Well, so I was comparing the Sophie and James vehicle, which is the Jeep,
right,
to the truck. Whereas the Sophie and James vehicle is much more likely to be one of those, like, oh shit, buddy. We broke down. We got a problem. You and Mommy are gonna have to go for a walk here. You can't sustain toddler life in a soft top Jeep for very long. Not like winter and all that jazz. So, like, hey, dude, time for Mom to throw them boots and that coat and that shit on you that we keep, and you and I are gonna go for a little walk, right? And Mom needs a bag that she can throw on and have some things that matter. And it ain't fucking diapers. Because, that ain't what we're talking about. Not that kind of stuff doesn't matter. But, hey, what do you need to have in that? Okay, I need to go bag. And what do I have the luxury to have in the Green Mountain Defense truck, which is like, I'm going to drive this bitch in here. I'm going to live at this range for a week. I'm going to teach all the classes. I'm going to hang out with my buddies. I'm going to live out of this rooftop tent, and I'm going to go home. And I know shit I don't pack for that trip. That shit's somebody go on and test me. Somebody host me tomorrow. Be like, hey, we need you to come tomorrow. And I'll go, great. I'll get up in the morning and drive. It's all set. It's a really nice luxury to have it like that. But that's a different setup because I have to keep an empty bag in that truck because all the things are in their various compartments and places and where they are in the paradigm of the truck camping setup. So I might be in a situation where I need to quick throw some shit in the bag. You know what I mean? And then boogie that way. Whereas Soph's is a much more pedestrian. I mean, it's a Jeep with some bigger tires and a winch and whatever on it, but it's not.
I have it on good authority that the guy that installed that for you is ruggedly handsome.
He is ruggedly handsome. He also did a great job disconnecting my sway bars. It was amazing. But my point is, like, that vehicle is not super ostentatious. It's pretty obvious who I am anywhere in the Green Mountain Defense, right? Like, I might as well be driving around with a billboard that says there's fucking guns in here, like, and whatever else. It's just a different kind of deal. So I think that your intended use case for this gear, just like every other gear that piece of gear you're ever going to own, really comes into play. I think what I enjoy about this the most, though, is that most of my equipment in this camping survival kind of realm can serve multiple roles. Like, I don't buy the big stupid camp stove when I can get away with camping out of a jet boil. You know, I keep the backpacker stove in the truck, and when I need to break out the backpacker stove, I break it out. If I had to throw it in a backpack, I could, throw it in a backpack. It's not that hard. So the stuff serves dual roles and is multi-use and multifunctional. That's kind of neat that way. So we talked comms. I talked a shitload about batteries and power storage, but the answer is pretty simple: solar, Goal Zero, Yeti, that whole brand of power storage and accessories. Those little portable generators that are nothing but battery power. Those things are awesome. You know, when we were on our Jeep trip, how many different iPads and phones and shit did I recharge off of that one thing?
Oh, all of them.
Right. Like we never went like over to the thing to plug in to the shore power. I don't even know if the shore power at our site, at our one campsite, was even turned on because we never used it. We never needed it.
Right.
So I keep the solar implementation with that so that I can top the batteries off in that thing if I want to, but I don't need to. I charged that thing at the house before we left, and it never needed recharge that whole couple-day trip. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and look, in a perfect world, like I would argue that, 10, 15, 20 years ago, something like what the hell the brand was, the Goal Zero, something like that wouldn't have been necessary. But you look at the technological age that we've entered into with regard to cell phones, tablets, Garmin's, things of that nature. The impetus to have a battery backup has increased over time.
Yep. I mean,
so now, do you need to invest the $300 into something like what you've got? I would advise it, but you could certainly get away with, a handful. Like if prime example, so on the trip with my family, right? Each one of us is going to have a battery backup capability, right? Just a little juice pack type thing.
$100 version.
Yeah, something like that. I've got probably 5 or 6 of those things floating around my house.
For the audio inclined, I'm holding a handheld. Oh, what is this? Goal Zero Venture 30. Let's see if this thing's charged. Hey, look, it's charged. Beep, bop, boop. I can't see nothing. Yeah, 100% charged. Can't tell you when the last time I plugged this bad boy in. But this would do a couple phones or something. Yep. Real easy. And that thing, one of the things, so, because you're right, like, hey, the kids don't really need the iPad. Hey, we don't really need to text while we're on the Jeep trip or whatever. Like, you can say all that. I'll tell you what I will say. All my illumination is now battery powered.
Yep.
And like, I don't mean no shit, Sherlock, like a D-cell mag light. I mean, if you can't charge an 18650 or an 18350, or charge your little headlamp with its proprietary battery in it, then you can't see shit. And that does kind of suck.
Yeah, and so by the way, I found these on Amazon. They're little 3D printed casings, and I keep we talked in a previous episode. I've started going to more off body carry for like the non-essential stuff. I keep 2 extra 18650 batteries with me at all times.
Yeah, I keep a lot of that. It's funny because we just redid the home office setup, and right here behind me now is the charging station from hell. Everything in my life that needs charge now gets charged behind me. And as I look back there's 18350s for the mod lights, 18650s, Apple Watch chargers, portable speaker chargers, iPad chargers, iPhone chargers, more portable speaker chargers, a shitload more 18650s. couple Garmin chargers. Like, we're charging some shit back there. And in some way, shape, or form, we rely on or at least use to severe mechanical advantage a lot of that kind of technology when we're out. So having that stuff to charge is cool. So here's something I want to kind of enlighten people on. You really, with a lot of most of this portable solar technology, you're not that you can't, but you're not really gonna charge the battery box unit off the solar panel. What you're gonna do is keep it topped off.
Yeah,
right.
It's a trickle charger.
Right. Exactly. It's meant to support sustainment. You're not gonna drop the iPhone to 0, charge the iPhone and 2 iPads and something else, drop the battery to 0 that you used, then plug the battery to 0 that you used in, and come back to camp at the end of the day and expect that thing to be at 100. But if you never let it drop below like 60 and you keep topping it off, you can keep it in the 75 or 80% range, like kind of the whole trip. It's been
you could prolong
right
your chargeability, right?
Right. And then that way, if you don't let any one device go the whole way dead, and then you don't let any one set of equipment go the whole way dead, and your backups aren't the whole way dead, God forbid you do get into something, now you can waste the juice in your battery cells, let's say on the most critical infrastructure at that given time, while still charging up the next thing. So just don't get in the habit of it's kind of like the gas tank. That shit should never get below half full.
Yep.
So as long as you approach it like that, it works pretty good.
Okay.
And yeah, Yeti and Goal Zero are my brand, and I know there are other brands, and I'm going to be very direct. I have zero experience with portable solar charging outside of Goal Zero. I have no idea what other companies are doing or how it works because I've only ever used one.
And people might balk at the pricing of those things, but guys, the whole element of sustainability in a vehicle doesn't have to be based on everything being top tier. You spend money where it counts, and you can save money where it doesn't necessarily matter, right? Am I looking for $30 per meal, freeze-dried food that's gourmet cooked by a 3-star Michelin chef? Or am I okay with a couple of $10 MREs, skinny down into each pack for each person, right?
Right. Yeah. So once we've gotten out of the realm of the electronics and the comms, the next logical place to go is illumination. Right. So I'm thinking shit that plugs into shit right now. So I think we'll set entertainment aside for the purpose of tonight's show, because go ahead, talk shit to me. Kids like their iPads, like they want to watch their fucking iPads and whatever. And, go ahead and run your mouth about how you didn't need that in the old days. But I'll tell you right now, if daddy's dealing with a real no shit fucking problem right now, like if we really do have the shit has hit the fan, it's
every distraction helps.
Really handy to be able to go, here, bro, watch that for a while. Daddy's going to do some shit. Right. So whatever. That stuff is valuable. But the thing that I plug in the most, that when I'm out by myself, I'll listen to a podcast as I go to sleep or something when I'm out hunting or camping or out on the range by myself. But I'm not watching Netflix in the rooftop tent or anything like that. One of the things that I just use the dog snot out of is illumination. I burn 18650 batteries like they're fucking, fire chips. I go through illumination in batteries. I use headlamps. I use the spinny Goal Zero lantern that plugs into the solar cell for the inside. The dome light of the rooftop tent is one of those spinny lanterns that I click up. That thing works real good. I constantly have a flashlight on my person. I'm sitting here in gym shorts doing a fucking podcast, and I have a mod light flashlight on my person because, as Doc says, you can't hide money. I know, make fun of me, whatever. Fuck you. I have one Gucci ass flashlight. I always constantly have to have that illumination, and good light burns batteries. Like there's no way of saying it any other way. Good light burns some batteries. So yeah, nice job, light. Now that I go to clip it back in my shorts and I miss. Yeah, light matters. You need light. Light's gonna get you out of emergencies. Light's gonna help you around the camp. Maybe you don't want to build a fire. Maybe you just want to set camp, get some food in you, and go back to sleep or whatever. Flashlight is just super duper important. Headlamps are super duper important.
That is one thing I've made it a point to do is I've got a headlamp in every vehicle, at least one.
Yeah, headlamps are it in terms of like, the hands-free modality and all that. That shit's just so nice. So,
yep.
And again, a good headlamp, like, or whatever, it'll stay charged the whole trip. Here's what I can tell you. I go to my truck right now, reach in there, grab a headlamp, turn it on, put it on. It will work for a while. But I mean, it's not staying 100% charged at all time. When it sits for months at a time or whatever. So you need a way to charge that shit up. That really kind of serves my purposes in terms of things that need plugged in. So
yeah, we've talked about battery maintenance from a firearms perspective, right? So your red dots, etc. Every year on your birthday, change those batteries out, get out to the range, re-zero with your carry ammo, etc. With your headlamps, with your illumination modalities, those honestly probably need more attention. So like every oil change, right? Every 3,000 miles, pull those batteries out, go ahead and swap them.
See the charging station back there?
Yeah.
There's a lot of batteries getting charged back there. That whole white basket is just full of those different cords.
It looks like a fire hazard.
No, it's really well done.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Really well
but
done.
Even the Hindenburg was well done.
I will admit that I don't turn it all on unless I'm down here.
Okay, that's fair.
Because, it is it's definitely all plugged into one 20 amp, 120 volt outlet.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But
yeah, guys, with your headlamps, I mean, I can tell you, we lived off of headlamps in the military. The handheld white lights, look, they're great. I've started, I got a mod light for Christmas. Absolutely love that thing, by the way. Huge fan. I certainly see what all the fuss is about. But in the military, we lived off of headlamps. The whole white light in the pocket thing, that was like, it was available, but practicing positive, good light discipline, you weren't always running off of white light. Headlamps, by and large, have multiple modes, multiple colors built in, if not a built-in red lens filter. You live off of that light. That headlamp, you will burn through batteries so damn fast because typically, even the ones that aren't rechargeable, typically run off of AAA batteries. Those things will get sucked dry in no time, right? So, guys, every time you're doing your oil change, that's a good opportunity for you to go through and say, "Hey, all the lights I've got in here, right?
Yep.
Let's go ahead and swap out the batteries." Right, AAA batteries, thankfully, are far more affordable. Even quality, Duracell, the high output batteries, those things are substantially more affordable than like your CR 2032 batteries or 2016 batteries, or God forbid 18650 batteries. Right? Don't be a cheapskate on that stuff. If your life depends on it, if that's the one thing that you're going to need to signal that rescue helicopter or that rescue crew. Like, don't skimp on that stuff. Get your good batteries. Get you a good light. You'll thank me later.
Yeah. The Young brings up a good point. Battery testers are helpful. most of my 18650 chargers have a tester thing on them already, so that's pretty cool too.
I went ahead and bought I bought a like a 4-port multi battery charger, and it's spring loaded, so it'll fit different batteries in it.
Yep.
But yeah, it'll tell you like, hey, you're getting this many volts to it. You know, you'll be able to very easily tell the overall health and sustainability of that battery once you set it into recharge.
Yep. The other thing to think about too is rechargeable batteries have a shelf life.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I just know what it looks like. So when I recharge an 18650 battery, and that thing usually lasts me like a week of handheld light use, and all of a sudden it starts lasting me 2 or 3 days, I throw it away. You know, I don't know what the numbers are. TJ is about to do his beep booper manual and come back with an exact data log on.
No, I was actually looking to see where I put my multi-port charger. I think it's somewhere upstairs in the kitchen where I usually charge those things. So, I was trying to find it. I was hoping I had it in my desk so I could pull it out and show the watchers. But yeah, I got it off of Amazon. It was like $30 maybe.
I don't want to unplug mine, but it's over there.
Yeah,
it's all. You'd be so happy with the cable management over there. I kept Zip Tie Incorporated in business for like 2 weeks.
I mean, it's funny you mentioned that because honestly, a good pack of zip ties of various sizes is absolutely something you should have in your vehicle.
Yeah. All right. So let's go from the stuff that plugs in to the, let's see. If only there was a guy on here that made custom knives and knew shit about knives.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I'll call Frank. Should I call Frank and ask him about knives or? Oh,
I mean, you're more than welcome to.
You don't know shit. You don't know shit. No, I'm kidding. So old TJ here does make a kniff or two on occasion, and knows a thing or two about kniffs. So here's what I got. You can make fun of me all you want, but here's what I has in the truck. First of all, there's a multi-tool or 2 or 3 or 4. There's some multi-tools in the truck. They all have knives on them. I always have a personal everyday carry knife, Apache Solutions, rite of passage knife, for example. Whatever, carry a knife, something like that. Carry a multi-tool, that's all cool. Carry a clinch pick if you want to stabby, ninja face somebody. That all makes sense. What about like purpose-built tools for the campsite or for the survival thing? For me, there's a hatchet on the door frame of the driver's door. That's pretty helpful. Mm-hmm. Down in the little mat pouch down there, there's a hatchet. There's one of them bow saws for cutting limbs.
Yep.
One of them little foldy, bow saw things that you can cut couple inch diameter limbs with so that you can make your firewood and all that kind of stuff. There's a couple bigger, more purpose-driven, like hunting knives in the truck that, if you need to hack apart a moose or a deer, or a chupacabra or something like that to eat and stay alive, you can do all that kind of stuff. Like what should someone be looking for when they're looking to put? I want to talk about the hatchet because I see so many of these dudes with the tactical Turbo Hawk 3000 whiz bang whatever the fuck hatchet thing, and I'm over here.
It's a gas powered machete.
Yeah. I'm over here like, I think I bought this hatchet at a hardware store, and it still does hatchet things.
Right.
Like I don't know. Do you need a SMG throwable hatchet, or can you just get away with it?
No, you could certainly get away with that. So honestly, I went a different route with mine. At least, especially my Jeep, I keep a cold steel Spetsnaz shovel.
Yes.
So the Spetsnaz shovel is a very much akin to the U.S. military entrenching tool. With the exception of it doesn't have a foldable handle. So you do lose some of the compact nature of that e-tool that the U.S. military issues. But with the cold steel shovel, it's a straight hickory handled shovel, but it's sharpened on all edges. So it will double as both a hatchet or a small axe and a shovel, of course. And it's incredibly durable and incredibly inexpensive. You're looking at, I think I've seen them for as low as $20 before. I don't know what they are currently. I've had this one for years. And it works beautifully. But keep it an entrenching tool or something like that. So if I had to do it all over again, I honestly would probably keep a hatchet and an entrenching tool. So in my truck, I'd have an e-tool and a hatchet. Or to your point, Kent, I think you hit the nail on the head. I can do a lot more with a handsaw, like those folding, even from Walmart, like the Coleman brand folding brush saws, right? And a good sturdy knife. And what do I mean when I say sturdy knife? This is where you shouldn't really skimp too much. Full tang. A lot of people go with Mora knives. Mora knives are great knives, don't get me wrong, but they're not full tang. I can bend and break those blades away from the handle because the handle does not go all the way. The blade or the hilt does not go all the way through the handle. It's not all one piece with handle scales on top of it, right? It's a plastic injection molded handle where the knife is, squeezed into it. For cutting, it's fine, but I want something that I can hold onto a piece of wood and baton with another piece of wood to effectively work as a hatchet to, split for kindling or whatever have you, right? So I'm actually, from a survivalist knife perspective, I'm actually a big fan of Essie. So that's ESEE for those playing the home game, right? All are full tang, very, very resilient. They typically do a great job of having a very good 90-degree angle on the back of the knife so you can strike on a ferro rod if need be. And they will certainly survive being batoned through a smaller piece of wood in order to make kindling and splitting pieces of branches and stuff apart.
Yeah.
The key thing is not the sharpness or the super cool, sexy space age steel that they're using. There's a lot of knife companies that are championing we use the super LMAX steel or whatever have you. Shit doesn't matter. Keep a sharpening kit. Even a simple, two-sided axe sharpening stone from Lansky works pretty well.
No.
Can't you shake it in your head? No. What's that?
No. You're my sharpening kit.
Okay, fair. But in the event that you can't fit TJ into your pocket, right?
I just said knives to TJ, and he sends them back that, he put them in all the cardboard, and the cardboard is shredded because the knives are so goddamn sharp they came back down through the cardboard that he sent them in.
Did they really?
Bro, actually, a little bit. Those fucking kitchen knives you sharpened up, I was like, God damn. There's still that one knife, I swear to God, Sophie is using for everything up there. And that thing, that was what, 8 months ago you did that? 10 months ago? It's been
something like that.
It's been some
something
time.
Like
Silliness. Just silliness. So
right.
I'll just have you sharpen everything.
No, yeah, more than happy to. But guys, learn how to sharpen your knives. Learn how to maintain your knives. I don't care what the steel is made out. It could be made out of God's cuticle. And the reality is you're going to still need to sharpen it.
God's cuticle, the base of God's nails.
The God's cuticles, yes. So Young actually asked a good question. Do you guys take anything fancier for sharpening than whetstones? Slightly. So repeatability of your sharpening angle actually matters. You can go spend $50 on a Lansky stone kit that has 4 or 5 different stone grits, coarse, medium, fine, ultra fine, whatever have you. But that clamp that comes with it that allows you to have a repeatable edge on both sides or a repeatable angle on both sides is absolutely critical to making sure that your knives stay sharp. I intentionally grind my knives to a 20-degree angle, unless it's a kitchen knife. any of my field knives or anything that you're going to carry is going to be ground to a 20-degree angle, because every kit, whether it's Lansky or some off brand, is going to have a 20-degree angle guide with it. So sharpen to 20 degrees for those field knives, those hard use knives, and you should be fine. And they pack down really, really small. They fit easily in a glove compartment, easily going to fit in the bottom of a bag. You're not going to need them right away, but it's good to know that you have them if you ever end up needing them. I think the biggest issue, though, is making sure that the knife is constructed in a way that can take an abusive use case. Batoning a blade through a vertical piece of branch or wood, beating on the back of it with another piece of wood, is going to be very aggressive to a tool like that, right? Blades getting broken off, separating from the handle, arguably useless at that point. And yeah, I mean, SE did it right. Tops knives, I'm also a big fan of. So SE or Tops knives, spend the extra money and get those. Now, look, if you want to keep a Mora knife in your car, right? Maybe you're more suburbanite on the regular. You're not going to be away from civilization very much, right? The farthest you're going to be away from home is stuck somewhere in a major traffic jam on a highway, but there's other neighborhoods and stuff nearby. Yeah, throw a Mora knife in your glove box. There's nothing wrong with spending that $20 at the local gun store counter at the impulse buy section and getting a Mora knife to throw in your kit, right? A good sharp knife is still usable. But if you're looking for something that's hard use, something that's going to be in your bag, I'd go SE, Tops knife, something of that sort, something that's full tang. And no, a U.S. Marine Corps fighting K-bar is not a full tang knife.
So you just said something that kind of resonated with me. In 2019, 2020 timeframe here in Pennsylvania, we had such a failure of government that basic plow trucks and shit were not getting roads clear.
Mm-hmm.
There's an interstate that's fucking like 7 miles to my southeast out here.
Yep.
Motherfuckers died on that interstate because of cold exposure.
Yep.
And we're within visual of a Walmart, but couldn't walk there. Like literally, we've at one show we brought this up before, but I'm sorry, man. If you're the dad whose kids die because you couldn't grab homeboy and walk the 1.25 miles up the hill and around to get to the Walmart parking lot to go the fuck inside and not freeze to death with your kid because you didn't have some basic tools and basic skills in your car. Come on, man. Like,
yeah,
that was deplorably sad shit.
Yeah, it's absolutely disgraceful.
We spent that whole freaking night. I must have pulled like 11 or 12 cars out of ditches, just like helping random people get home. They're like, what are you doing out here? You have no idea what you're doing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and that goes to, I think that goes to kind of like the next bit of kit, right? So we talked about tools, we talked about knives. I think obviously just on the tool side, look, get yourself a cheap bag. Harbor Freight works fine. Actually, I carry enough parts to rebuild my Jeep practically whenever I go trail riding.
And your buddy.
And your buddy, right? But I carry a bag all filled with Harbor Freight tools. So if it ever gets stolen, I'm out maybe $200, right, in total. But it's got all this other stuff in it that I need. Get you a bag, have stuff to repair your vehicle with, so that you can sustain the vehicle itself. If you need, why walk when you can drive, right? But if you can't drive, keep that extra pair of boots that you never wear throughout the year in your damn vehicle, right? Kent's been doing a great job helping me and my family get outfitted for really cold temperatures, right? Going out to Colorado next weekend. We're just going on a family trip, but like we're talking about like waterproof boots and wool socks, good synthetic pants, right? Now, I actually did opt to have the ones that were fleece lined, but they're also waterproof. Bet your ass in the summer, winter months, when I'm not wearing those things, or summer and late fall or early fall, those things are going in my bag in the truck. Right? If I'm wearing jeans, or God forbid I'm coming home from the office and I got to change out of slacks, I'm putting on some pants that are going to be waterproof, certainly more rugged, and have a little bit extra insulation in them to in the event. Because guess what? It might be 70, 80, 90 degrees during the daytime. Nighttime, without any ambient heat or a fire to keep you warm, you're going to get cold as hell really quick.
Yep.
So keeping those extra clothes, those boots, those socks, throw them in your vehicle, man. I know a lot of people laugh at those rednecks that keep their muck boots tucked in behind the cab of their truck and the bed of their truck, right? With the soles pointed skyward, right? Yep. I'll tell you what, that dude was going to be able to walk to Walmart in 18 inches of snow. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Have those clothes and think about it for your family too, right? A lot of us will pack a bag just for us. And yeah, I'm normally the one in my vehicle whenever I'm out traveling on stuff like that. But I have to assume that I'm going to have my wife with me, my kids with me, right? So I need to have some level of sustainment for them as well.
Yeah.
Young mentions in the comments that he kept his ACU cold weather gear and doesn't regret it. You damn right. Yeah, it doesn't have to be super expensive, guys. It really doesn't. Like, you can actually skimp on some of this, but be reasonable. Maybe you're not spending $150 on, whatever it is, like the Black Spider snowboard pants or whatever. Maybe you spend 20, 30, $50 on a good pair of like Wrangler brand waterproof pants that are fleece lined to give you a little bit extra insulation. There you go. You're good. So
I'm looking for what Young asked me for photos of my vehicle setup here. I'm trying to indulge him. I swear they're pretty close to the top of the pile here. If we here's a good example, Young. Here's a picture I posted of being frustrated waiting for a student from a private lesson. Look what's above my head.
Yep.
All right, we got a med kit while we're waiting. I'm sitting there like, God damn it, waiting for a private lesson. There's a med kit on the visor. Oh, let's see.
Yeah, I've got the header on the back of my truck, and I keep a Dark Angel medical kit in. The North American Rescue kit is in my wife's vehicle, and the header is in my pickup truck, and a Dark Angel medical kit. What is it? The Dart is in my Jeep at all times.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not good at multitasking. This isn't working. This is bad radio. But if you check out my Instabook or Facegram or UPod or CastVid or whatever, hold on. I'm gonna keep scrolling. I'm gonna find you a picture. I feel so fucking terrible. I can't find like a basic picture of my rooftop tent setup right now. I don't do enough marketing, I guess, with this. Doopy doopy doo.
Yeah, apparently not.
Doopy doopy doo. There's pictures of me shooting guns. It's a lot of pictures of me shooting guns, as it turns out. James the baby. Picture of James as a baby.
While you're finding those pictures, guys, think about obviously we mentioned medical in passing. Medical counts too, right? Now listen,
it's me looking like Steve Fisher. Oh no, that's not me looking like Steve Fisher. It's not even my. All right, I'm done. I give up.
He gives up, and Ken gives up. But look, guys, medical equipment we talk about on literally every single episode, 129 times at a minimum. You have heard us talk about medical. You should have enough medical equipment to sustain yourself and anybody else that is commonly with you. Now, ideally, should you have enough kit to maybe help a stranger? Sure. Good on you. But hey, I've got a fire extinguisher in my vehicles. If I drive by a vehicle on the road that's on fire, hey, dude, as long as there's no injuries or nobody that needs their life saved from that vehicle, that thing's saved for my vehicle, right? No different than showing up being an IFAC, individual first aid kit, if you ain't got one on you and I've got one on me, that's for me, not for you. So more medical equipment and the kiddo.
Better view of the medical equipment. Let's see. It's coming. See, this is what happens when you start scrolling through your pictures. Campfires, B8s. Campfires, B8s. James. Campfires, B8s. James. This is amazing. Cold weather gear. Oh, there you go. Cold weather gear. Somewhere back in here. Here you go. Oh, I knew it.
Yeah, there you go.
There's the setup. Rooftop tent, the old pick 'em up truck. Let's see. A couple of different views here. So this is the fold down off the side. Cascadia.
Yeah, that's what can't remind me. That's what, a king size mattress that you have in there?
King size mattress, yeah. Here's a great perspective shot. There we go. This is the picture I was looking for. So Young, if you can see those gear bins, those like Husky lockable gear bins, those things are full of all the camping things. So those work out really nice. Super weatherproof. This was an ATV trip, Sif and I did. So you got the ATVs and the trailers and the whole setup just drops right off right there. Really, really, really helpful. Good product to have on your truck. I love the rooftop tent setup.
Yeah, so Young brings up another good question about keeping prescription medication in the vehicle. So
Yes.
having a wife that worked in a pharmacy, this is a challenge. Like, this is a tough one because some of your prescription medication may fall under a controlled substance schedule, right? It's not easy to keep. It's not easy to get extra of. It also expires. It has a shelf life. So when you're talking about prescription medication, listen, if you're on a prescription medication where you can afford to keep a supply in your vehicle, great, but be mindful of the expiration date. I would submit that if you expect being gone for a prolonged period of time, you should bring enough prescription medication with you. Like, that should be in, like, we're talking about like me going to Colorado. All of our prescription medication is going to be in our carry-on bags.
Yep.
Right? Now, if you're talking about like, maybe you've got to worry about your mom or your dad, they've got a heart condition or whatever. You can keep some nitroglycerin pills, some aspirin, things like that. But even still, be very mindful of those prescription of the expiration date.
So here we go. Ready? Here's what's in the med pill box in my truck: aspirin, Tylenol, Benadryl, amoxicillin, aka Mexican amoxicillin, because why not, right? Getting an infection is bad news. And some Mexican Tylenol with codeine. I believe that's Tylenol e Codino. I have no idea what the fuck that one's called, but the Mexican version of Tylenol with codeine. Some Tums, some Midol, some Pepto-Bismol, like those chewable pills, right? I'll give you a silly, stupid one. Somebody asked Justin, if you ever see him in the chat again, to tell the story about the time that he opened me a Monster Energy drink and a bee got in my Monster Energy drink while we were teaching class. And I drank a bee and got stung in the throat by a bee because I drank that motherfucker.
It's the first time I've heard this story.
Yeah. Well, the Benadryl thing just brought it up. Justin was like, "Who the fuck are you?" When I reached into the truck, grabbed the pill thing, crushed up some Benadryl, and was like, ah. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Dude, my throat's going to close. Fuck that shit." He's like, "Okay, you're not a person. You're weird."
Are you allergic to bees?
Oh, fuck yeah.
We've been friends this whole time, and I never knew you were allergic to bees.
I'm allergic to being stung in the goddamn throat, too.
Okay, fair.
It was like, I said, nope.
Yeah, by the way, medical ID bracelets.
Yeah.
or writing your allergies on your shoes.
If
In
you
all
have
of
some
my
real nice
deployments-
Jordans, if you have some real nice Jordans on, can you just write poor people as one of your allergies?
Right. But no, seriously, like on your hiking boots, I distinctly remember, because I did it on every deployment, all 7 of them, A positive for my blood type and NKA for no known allergies written on my boots.
Huh.
If somebody comes across your body and you're unconscious and unresponsive but alive, might be helpful for medical personnel to be able to identify, hey, penicillin, this dude's allergic to. We don't want to just stab him with it.
A positive and NKA. I'd come across your body and grab the radio, and I'd be like, this guy got an A+ in the CA class. I don't know what that means, but I thought it would be reasonable info to share with you people.
Also, God help you if Kent is your rescue ranger.
Hey, I've done pretty good in that role accidentally and a couple times on purpose. He got an A+ in the CA class.
God help us all.
Say it. I don't know what that means. How do I know what that means?
Yeah.
I do now.
What about fire, Kent?
Oh yeah, this one's cool, right? So I swear to God, I light more fires when I'm out with my jet boil. I mean, it's a goddamn open flame.
Yep.
Roll up some twigs and some sticks and shit. I'm making coffee anyway. See, here's what happens for me. If I don't have coffee in my system within the first 15 or 20 minutes of the day, one thing will happen, which is I will be cranky pants. Another thing that won't happen is I won't get a poop out. Another thing that'll happen is that'll make me more cranky pants. I'll spend my whole day having not pooped and cranky pants because of lack of coffee, and it'll just be a vicious cycle. So the first thing I do every morning in any kind of camp or any kind of outdoor prolonged situation is I reach for my jet boil anyway to fire that bitch up to make some coffee. And I usually look over the fire that was made the night before. And when I look over and the, that fire's kind of dwindling, I might could stir up some coals and fire that bitch up for another go around. Well, I could damn sure stick some kindling in by that jet boil, get the kindling hot, and then move on about my day. So I've lit or relit an awful lot of fires that way. Something a lot of people don't think about. Then, of course, there's the waterproof lighters. Then, of course, there's the basic bitch Zippos. Then, of course, there's them grill lighters. There's the kick-ass, what are those? Those metal, the steel Zippo lighters that we got.
Yep.
Those are neat. There's waterproof matches. There's flint and steel. There's ferro rods.
Flares.
Yeah, I don't do that a lot, but yeah, I do have some flares. I guess I could do if I really, really had to.
Yeah, in the spirit of a pace plan, right? If you've got 2 or 3 flares in your kit, right, and it's like we're going to freeze to death if we don't get a fire going, and all other options are expended.
Yeah,
I'm breaking that flare. I'm sacrificing one of them flares.
Also,
I will say this though. You can go to Sam's Club, Costco, Dollar General, and get a dozen Bic lighters and keep 2 or 3 of them motherfuckers in all of your vehicles for almost nothing.
Yep. There's lighters everywhere in my house and my cars. The other thing you got to remember.
Also, learn how to build a fire.
Yeah.
A lot of people take a Bic lighter and try to light a redwood on a blaze, and this shit ain't working, motherfucker. Maybe you need to start with some pine needles.
Yeah.
Right.
So you got to remember something, and this is very unique to me when it comes to fire. I drive a Ford, so like
Bound to burst into flames.
Something's always kind of sort of on fire anyway. So I can always just kind of reach down in underneath the manifolds and shit and go, oh, look, a little fire I can put over here where I need it. It's fine. Everything's fine. This is all fine. Yeah. So when I think fire, I think heat and cooking. So those are and signaling, but mostly heat and cooking. So I need to be, we talked about the knives. I need to be able to make kindling and all that kind of stuff. I need to be able to baton. I need to be able to, break down wood into smaller, more chunkable pieces. I'm really, really a big fan of those Mr. Buddy heaters. I keep a Mr. Buddy heater in the truck that I can spin the little cylinder in. Yes, those are absolutely usable inside of small spaces. I would probably be willing to use one of them in a vehicle as long as I could get a window cracked or maybe a door frame cracked or something. I would not light a Mr. Buddy heater in a four compartment, maybe in a bigger minivan or something. But if I was just in a sedan and the windows were closed and the doors were closed, I wouldn't fire off a Mr. Buddy heater for too god awful long for the CO thing. But a rooftop tent's not entirely, rooftop tents literally have that little vent flap down in the lower seam corner that's meant to vent shit out. So you're absolutely venting out carbon monoxide and stuff. The better Mr. Buddy heaters have those things where they get knocked over too close to them, they shut off. And the real nice ones even have CO detection on them now, which is super duper kick ass. So I like that setup pretty nice.
Yeah, one extra resource I want to give to people who are listening to this. There's a YouTube channel that I've been watching recently, and I just looked it up to make sure I had the name right. But Gritty Soldier, Gritty Soldier. This dude is a former Ranger, or still a Ranger. I think he might still be active duty. But this guy's YouTube channel is around physical fitness and getting people prepared for Ranger school. But he talks about the pack out and the loadout and like the things you need to bring with you to Ranger school. These are great resources. First of all, the dude puts very good content out. But if you packed even half of the stuff that he talks about that you want to take with you to like a U.S. Army Ranger school or something like that, you're going to be set up for success. He goes over like boot break-in processes and like the best socks that he's used, right? It's really, really good information. So I'm going to give him a shameless plug here. Head on over to his channel and take a look at some of the stuff. If you're trying to like, hey, Kent and TJ keep talking in circles or whatever, or I'm not making sense of it. Like, give me a clear packing list, right? Go check out his stuff. He's got some really good information. By the way, Kent, I think that's something we should add to the website is like, hey, let like you and me need to get together and put some of this down on paper to give the folks at home an easy resource, like a checklist, right? Yep. So we can keep it simple. Just the rule of thumb is going to be make sure that you are packing this stuff for each individual that you expect to be with you at any one given time in a worst case scenario, right? Young, you bring up, is merino wool the gold standard for socks? Honestly, no. Wool socks or a hybrid thereof, yeah, but it depends on what your ultimate use case is going to be. If you're just looking to stay warm, then yes, merino wool is going to do very well for you. If you're looking at hiking 20 miles, then pure 100% merino wool is probably not going to do very well for you, right? So be mindful of that. Think about what your use cases are going to be.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, there is a break-in period for socks as well. We talk about blisters and all this. You lose your feet, you're done. This doesn't include just your feet getting chopped off, but severe blisters, trench foot, things of that nature. You need to be mindful of that shit. And you should break your socks in the way you break your boots. And the way I used to break my boots in the military were, whenever you get a new pair of boots, put your socks on, wear them into the shower, get them good and soaked, and then walk a mile or two, and then take them off. That'll form the boot to your foot. It'll form the socks to your feet. It'll delete all of those hot spots that you might get from that type of equipment.
Yeah.
Although, real quick, cheat code. If you know you're going to hike a long ways, turn your socks inside out. So the rough side, Kent, you can agree, socks have like a really fuzzy side, and then the outside, which normally people wear, is pretty smooth. Flip them bitches inside out, and it'll help cut down on your hot spots as well. One more thing and this is a little bonus that most people don't think about. Specifically, arid, extra dry antiperspirant spray. Spray that shit on your feet before you go on a long hike. You ain't gonna have no blisters, bro. I'll tell you right now. That's a cheat code. I used to take that stuff with it was in my bag every time I went on a ruck march. And dude, it saved my butt so many times.
I like it. Your sock knowledge is solid. Here, I'll give you one kind of like ski resort sort of thing. Sock and wool thickness does not necessarily equal warmth, right? So
Right.
The thicker the sock doesn't necessarily equal warmth. Try to shy away from the super duper enforced ankle and enforced toe box socks that have like really defined places where the fabric and the conditions of the fabric change. Like where if you look at, so for example, smart wool socks do that very well because they put the reinforcement on the outside of the ankle box, not on the inside where the sock is meant to be worn. And the reasoning for that is because now you don't have a rib to touch your ankle where the two pieces meet. So you don't have like a natural rubbing spot. Sock liners are big, like synthetic sock liners on the base with wool socks over really help reduce blisters, really help.
Yeah, so let me interrupt you real quick. For those that don't know what sock liners are, we actually get issued these in the military, but they also double as dress socks, right? So these are very thin, borderline pantyhose thin type material.
Yep.
Right. That go on your foot first, then your sock, then your boot. That's also meant to help fight blisters and so forth, and also increase moisture wicking capabilities.
As far as I'm concerned, the only pair of socks you should not own are cotton.
Yep.
If you're wearing cotton on your feet, like if you reach into my truck right now or her Jeep right now, you will find smart wool socks or darn tough socks if you want to hikey, crunchy Vermont brand that we used to love in those bags. And I'm not saying I'll never wear like cotton socks like to the gym or some shit. But if I got a mess to go deal with, I'm for sure swapping socks.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like fuck that. We ain't going into no water with no fucking cotton socks on. I'd rather be barefoot.
Yep.
Yeah. So that sock knowledge is solid. Let's talk other stuff about the warmth just in general. We want to have base layers, right? I want a base layer. I'm wearing a base layer right now, right? Like I'm wearing an Under Armour Cold Gear base layer up underneath this SDI sweatshirt. I wear heat gear and cold gear from Under Armour pretty well constantly. I love being able
and I can confirm that he's not bullshitting.
I'm telling you, like pretty well constantly I wear that shit. If it's the summer, I'm wearing, now I always fuck this up. Summer, I'm wearing heat gear. Winter, I'm wearing cold gear.
Yep.
I sometimes I think the heat gear is meant to keep you hot. It's not. It's meant to keep you cool in the heat.
Right.
Say that 4 times fast. Anyway, Under Armour base layers are awesome. Merino wool base layers are awesome. Carhartt Force Gear base layers are very, very nice. Cotton long johns are fucking worthless. Like,
yep.
To all you dudes who go to the Penn State games with your cotton long johns on, and then your cotton jeans, and then your cotton mittens, and your sewn cap, and your Penn State sweatshirt, you're making it worse. Like your body is not happy with you. That's not a good idea.
Yeah, that's the one thing we didn't skimp on too much was the base layers, right? Getting ready for the Colorado trip. We made sure we got good quality base layers. We got wool caps. We have waterproof lined gloves. Actually, we went predominantly with Carhartt brand across the family for gloves. But yeah, so Young, to your question about the merino wool, socks, not so much. I think a blended wool sock is better. And Gritty Soldier actually mentions it. Fox River Fatigue Fighter socks. These were available in every post exchange that I've ever been to. I used to buy 6 or 7 pair of those things every time I would deploy, right? And I'd always order more throughout the deployment. Those things are legit, but they're not a pure wool sock. It's a hybrid. It's like a wool acrylic blend, I think it is. But dude, those things are legit. Like, no kidding.
So here's something I would tell you, Young, about merino wool socks. I will give you an exception. If I'm going to go hunting for a day in Vermont that involves me sitting in a frozen ass fucking ground blind after having gotten off of an ATV where I plan to do no more walking than the 72 yards over to the puppy dog sized doe I just shot, throw her ass on the ATV and drive her home. Fuck yeah, I want merino wool socks. I will stick my feet in a bear's asshole at that point. Like, I don't give a fuck. All I need to do is keep my feet warm. All the wool, all the things, all shoring a sheep and wrap duct tape around them bitches. I don't give a fuck. But if I have to get up and move, and do things and be mobile and maybe have a little bit of sweat, need some moisture wicking, need some waterproof, all that kind of stuff, then merino wool is probably going to be on my top base layer, or maybe my second. Like if I'm going to have like a Henley knit kind of a shirt or something on, but not as great as a watch cap, but not on my feet.
Yeah,
not for me anyway.
Just too much sweat.
Too much hobbit sweat. Yeah, I got hobbit foot sweat. That's a problem.
Well, I mean, whether you got hobbit feet like Kent or not, in those conditions, your feet
are OnlyFans right now. You guys want to see?
Right. No. Only feet. Please don't.
Didn't get there. Didn't quite get there.
Yeah. Yeah. The human body in any other condition will sweat most of your sweat, if you're just sitting there, will come from your feet. Believe it or not. It sounds crazy because we're all used to sweating from our brow or our armpits or whatever, but your feet sweat the most. That is one of the few things from the military that I truly appreciated learning, was exactly how critical it is and how complex it is to really take care of your feet properly.
All right.
You can fuck that up real quick.
So this is something that I'm in a habit of that maybe not a lot of people are, but I don't wear a lot of layers between base layers and outerwear layers. Right?
Yeah, me neither.
So I like to keep packed like a mid-weight outerwear layer that might, for in the car, for in the truck, for doing the drive, for in a hotel room, for in camp, for in the rooftop tent maybe, or whatever, might keep me a little more warm and comfortable. But I don't do the whole what's that scene in the movie where the kid's got so many layers on he can't get his arms down?
Oh, from A Christmas Story.
A Christmas Story, right?
I can't put my arms down.
I can't put my arms down, mommy. I don't do that many layers. I want a layer, maybe 2 max. So every layer's kind of gotta be useful. I'm starting to really like Victos. The Carhartt Force rainwear stuff is fucking phenomenal.
Right.
Cabela's Guide Series stuff is fucking phenomenal. I could talk about all these high-end ski brands I've worn, the Healy Hansons and all that kind of stuff, and the Marmots and the North Face and all that. But really for the vast majority of my lifestyle and my kicking around and my outdoor work range, shooter guy, hunter, fisherman lifestyle. One of the brands, now that I just said fisherman, this jumped out to me. You can call me hoity-toity bougie or whatever you want, but if I swear to God, if Orvis made a shot glass, I'd buy that motherfucker. I've never seen in my entire, I've never seen anybody make more good gear. Orvis, everything they make is fucking phenomenal. So,
right,
Orvis outerwear, Orvis boots, and stuff like that. I'm all about it. Really like that stuff. As far as
we're going to Colorado, right? So we've all got a base layer, we've got a mid layer, and then especially for up top, for torso and whatnot, we've got a waterproof. We've all got waterproof jackets and gloves.
Yep.
Right. You're looking at 3 layers max. If you're looking at one portion of our body. For the kids, we got bibs, bib overalls. Kids are going to play in the snow and everything like that, right? Is funny though. You'll appreciate this. I asked my son, hey buddy, do some recon. Let's see what the weather's going to be like. I'm like, what's the weather in Silverthorne, Colorado for that weekend we're going out there? And he's like, 15. I'm like, okay, but what's the high? He looks at me, goes, 15. I'm like, okay, well, what's the low? He's like, -10. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be good times, right?
Yes, sir. It's a dry cold though, so it'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm not overly worried about it.
I love when people say, I still don't know what the fuck that means. No, it's a dry heat. It's a dry cold.
So, okay, look, I absolutely cool to make fun of that. But look, I grew up in my teenage years and through high school, I grew up in Florida. When I went to AIT for the Army, I was in Arizona. Okay. In the summer, that 95 degrees in Florida in July felt a hell of a lot different than 120 degrees in Arizona in July. That 120 degrees in Arizona in July was a cakewalk compared to what we dealt with in Florida. Right? Honestly, my biggest concern about when we go from Tennessee to Colorado is everybody getting altitude sickness.
Yeah. Everybody should get
right. Well, this actually brings a good point, Kent, because we haven't talked about this yet. But water, right? We talked about a little bit about food. We talked about heat, comms, illumination, sustainability, things like that. But what about water? Are you guys carrying like a 5-gallon can of water in the back of your vehicle? Or are you just carrying stuff where you can purify water that you might find out there? Like, how are you addressing that?
Both. Water purification is in both vehicles. And we're just as simple as keeping a 24-pack of water. Like plastic water bottles.
Okay. Which are reusable, by the way. You can do things with those. So don't just crush them up and throw them away. Crush them up, throw them in your pack, because you never know what you might need them for.
So here's something you should get if you don't have it yet for your trip. We should have thought of this earlier. Aquabate, mountain sport drink, altitude sickness hydration aid. Liquid IV, but for altitude sickness.
Interesting.
Yeah. They come in like little baggies that look like hand warmers.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Fuck yeah. Tastes like dog ass, but then again, you won't taste vomit in your throat either. So like,
yeah,
kind of one of them. Like, hey, sweetie, take your medicine for daddy real quick. All right, thanks.
Yeah, it's okay. Daddy's gonna take it with you, and we're both gonna gag together. It's
yeah, it's gonna be
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool though, because like I've got a couple of my buddies that I work with that one lives in Colorado, one just moved to Colorado, and they were like, "Oh yeah, look, altitude sickness, you might get it, but bring some lickies and chewies with you, something high sugar, and hydrate like a son of a bitch leading up to your trip. You stay hydrated, you keep your sugar content high, you should be okay. But I think something like that, right? Liquid IV." whatever it is you just talked about. By the way, text that to me when you get a chance,
Sure.
so I can go get some. But yeah, things like that, just those little emergency supplements that you can help to stave off some of those issues. Really it goes a long way. So, all right. So let's see. I think we've talked about just about everything we can talk about. I guess the question would be, and it wouldn't be the Sling'N Lead podcast if we didn't talk about it. Truck guns.
Oh, geez. Not a thing. Nobody cares. My truck
That's
gun
what
is,
I thought.
my truck gun is whatever gun is in my truck. All right. I don't know. Here's the thing. Like if I'm traveling for gun class, the truck gun is the guns for class. Rifle
And
pistol,
all the 18 million magazines you have to go with.
all the mags, right? Steve Darr's on the podcast now. He's listening. So now that Steve has switched to Glock, I'm gonna have to write not Steve's on all my Glock mags. That's gonna be a problem for me. But
Right.
no, like here's what I would say. For the like back in the Vermont days, a truck gun for me was much more like a thing that was real. Number one, nobody was coming onto my property to get in or out of a vehicle. Because that's just what, like, you know, who's gonna rob me? The 11 people that know me by first name and my, you know, that's just not gonna be a thing. And, you know, as far as where you were on planet Earth at a given time, if your truck stayed pretty rural and so did you, then okay, sure. So what was my version of a truck gun then? Like, I'll give you an example. I kept a little 22 revolver in the fishing kit all the time because, you know, it was an easy little thing. This was before Filster Enigmas for me, and I, you know, didn't want to necessarily wear like an overt chest rig with a big gun in it all the time or whatever. I could slip a little 22 revolver in the pocket of my fishing waders and have a little gun like right on me. So that stayed in the fishing kit. So sometimes that was a truck gun. Camping trips to the island on the Chittenden Reservoir were always that was always like, hey man, there's gonna be a shotgun involved in this trip. There fucking has to be a shotgun involved in this trip.
Because there's bears.
We are going to see a bear. Like, whether we're gonna have bear problems or not is irrelevant. Like, homeboy's gonna be on that shore that's a couple hundred yards away from the island, and he's gonna be going, what's over there, boo-boo? And like, you know, that's a thing.
Smells like a picnic basket.
Yeah, like, and yeah, bears don't swim. Bullshit. There's fucking bear shit all over that island. So like, also, you know, when it got, especially when like there was times we went out there and like you're canoeing out in like a foot of water. It's like, what do you think's gonna happen? You think the bear's not gonna get his ankles wet to go for a walk? Like,
that bear will swim to eat your ass. Like,
they don't give a
ain't worried about its ankle. It'll submerge. It'll become a bear submarine.
Like, they don't give a fuck, dude. They're out there looking for fish. You know, so you're gonna see bear. So, you know, at that time, shotguns are a big thing. Obviously, if you're out for a hunt, whatever your hunting implement is what it is. So you got a rifle in the truck and all that. I can see the argument. If you're gonna tell me, hey man, I need to have something for defense of my family, life, limb, and property or whatever, and I need to have that thing in the truck or in the car at all times, all times, no matter what. You know what? That bitch better be locked up. It better be in some kind of a gun vault or a safe or, you know, under a Diamondback truck rack or like in some place where it's really, really, really hard to get the fuck out of. I could all see that. The other thing I could see is like if you live in a state, if you like, for example, we got a lot of Maryland residents in our neck of the woods, and okay, man, if you're a Maryland resident and it's still more difficult for you to carry a gun than have one in your vehicle, or if you work on post or on base or in a I don't know, maybe you work in one of these like Amazon or Apple warehouses or something, or you do a thing where like you got to go through metal detectors. If you're a corrections officer down here at the prison, right? And you have to be stripped down when you go into the institution, but you want to have some shit available to you on your way out. All right. I understand why you want to have a truck gun. That makes some good sense to me. If you want to have a truck gun because you think you're going to bail out and strap on your M4 and walk your family to safety with your M4 to keep the zombies at bay or something, I don't get down with that mental imagery. As a matter of fact, I think you're a lot better off to just have your concealed pistol on you and throw your bag on and take your family for a walk and not stand out so bad and just be one of the other refugees that's walking off of the big interstate pile up that you're not going to get anywhere for the next couple, 5, 6, 10 hours. The first guy that gets out and slings an M4 is either going to get an interaction with military or law enforcement that he doesn't want, or if there is some criminal element afoot or something worse, congratulations, you just throw a billboard on your ass. So I don't love that whole truck gun fantasy idea.
Full disclosure, like I did some serious contemplating, trying to figure out how to make that work. Right. M4 or AR-15, AK, shotgun, all that other stuff, given my situation scenarios. And there was no way that I could justify the likelihood of somebody seeing it and breaking into the vehicle and stealing it were far greater than the necessity for me to strap that thing on and actually like hike with it overtly out and about across my chest or over my shoulder or whatever the case might be. Like if I were to keep anything, I like your idea of the small 22 and the fishing kit that you can just throw in your pocket or whatever have you. If you must have something on you, because let's be clear, it's better to have something than nothing, right? So yeah, I couldn't make it work, man. There's nothing like you are chaining that thing down or cabling that thing down so much to a point that it's absolutely useless to you when you might need it. You're better off just having a good concealed carry handgun with enough ammunition to support it in a sustained fight than, like, if anything, keep extra magazines in your vehicle. But the gun itself, not a smart idea in my opinion.
Lord knows that does has extra magazines.
No shit.
Does has magazines. Yeah, I don't love that whole truck gun thing. I really, really don't. Let's see what else.
Yeah, hell, I even went and got a Ruger PC carbine to see if I could make that work. No, I think that's feasible because it's takedown, it's compatible, like it's compact.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it takes Glock magazines. I typically carry a Glock, right? That's all good, well and good. But as far as leaving it in my vehicle, I can't stomach it, man. Just ain't gonna happen.
No, I understand. I agree.
At least not to the point where I'm gonna live out that fantasy where it's like the end. Shit hits the fan. I'm reliving an episode of The Last of Us where I'm walking through with my pack on and my rifle slung like I used to do in the old days. Right? That's just not happening, man.
I really get concerned because one of the things that does have to happen for me is like when I have to take GMD on the road and travel somewhere.
Right.
I promise you, I am the only guy or one of the only guys in a rest stop on Interstate 81 on my way down to North Carolina in West Virginia or Virginia who's got a rooftop tent and what's in them gearboxes and what's up with this guy? Like there's the Pelican cases. Yeah, shit's all locked down and locked up. Yeah, it's awful, real silly pants hard to get my shit out of my truck and get to any of my real gear. But
a determined person will find a way.
I fucking hate the idea of some some shitbag getting his hands on my stuff and hurting somebody else. I really, really hate the idea of that. And I mean, what are you going to do in my truck? Let me put it to you this way. Under other circumstances, if I was pulled over in that vehicle, the term arsenal could be, this man had 2 rifles, 17 handguns, 58 magazines, 3,000 rounds of ammunition, solar panels, satellite radio equipment. It's like, who the fuck? And I'm over there like, I just want to go to the range and hang out with my friends. And they're like, nah, bro, you a terrorist. You a domestic terrorist.
I'm not going to lie. I might have a Google alert for any news articles that have the words Kent in it. Dude, real talk. The chance of that beep booping at you someday. I wish I could say we're 0, but they're not. Nope. They ain't 0. That's for damn sure. The chances are not 0. That is bad, dude. I think of that all the time. I even think of it like, I think of the way that rig looks because, like, I take that rig to the range, and then I take it, like, we do Thursday night sights practice every Thursday. And at the end of every Thursday, what do? We go to the bar, we have a beer and a half dozen wings, talk shooting, and go home. I parked that truck in the darkest, furthest away, most non-ostentatious parking spot at that whole joint. Not because I'm trying to avoid cameras or detection or whatever, just because I'm like, this fucker won't stand out as bad over here. Like, right. Like it kind of stands out. Now, I don't have the whole. It's more or less concealing it from the prying eyes, right? Because if it's just parked in that corner, no one's going to pay attention to it, presumably, right? It's kind of like, and I don't have Green Mountain Defense logo or pinstriping anywhere on it. No. There's no the word gun, there's no Glock things, there's no NRA stand and fight, dumbass bumper stickers. There's none of that shit. As a matter of fact, I thought about getting some Trek mountain bikes in Patagonia and Orvis fly rod, like make it look a coexist sticker. Yeah. Like, oh, this is a hippie grungy camper fella, Yeah, what I'm gonna break into this truck and steal his tofu supplies. Yeah. Like to the point, like just really geek out the truck to the point where, like, when the biker gang comes into the bar, they're like, "Where's the gay fella?" And I'm like, just sitting there, like, I don't know, he must be over there. Like, and then I go get in the car with the rainbow coexist sticker and drive away. Like, I've really thought of doing that before. Not maybe to that extreme, but kind of like the whole, if you've ever seen a dude at an airport with a Pelican case and he's got like Guitar Center logos and shit all over it, or like Nikon camera logos and shit all over it. You don't look at it twice. Right. But yeah, there's a thing too that we call it security through obscurity. Right. Right. So there's definitely some thought process to that I got. Actually, the late James Yeager had a whole video about how one of his favorite T-shirts was a Mickey Mouse T-shirt. Yep. Right. Yep. I distinctly remember that video that he posted because it's like, who's going to want to pick a fight with, like, who looks at an elderly guy or an older guy with his family wearing a Mickey Mouse T-shirt that thinks he's a threat. Right? Regardless of what he's built like, ain't nobody going to think that this dude's down for a fight. Now you take a guy like me who's relatively built, wearing, like, every other shirt I have says jiu-jitsu on it. Right? A different story. Or if I look like a standard fuckboy that fell out of a buckle storefront in the local mall and all my shirts are Affliction, I'm going to look like I at least want to try to fight you. Right? You're laughing because you know exactly the type of people I'm talking about. The guy that wears the "my dad's a lawyer" starter kit on the weekends. Practically, yeah. Oh God, TJ.
My favorite part of our friendship is when you not trying to be funny and for sure are.
Of course.
Oh god. The affliction t-shirt. I thought about getting a tap out rash guard and wearing it to no-gi, but I was pretty sure that somebody would just destroy me just for showing up that way.
Well, see, now that's when you have to swing the complete opposite extreme and find one with like a psychedelic unicorn on it. Like your rash guard should look like a Lisa Frank folder.
Oh my!
And I know you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh my goodness! Huh? I never thought of that. My rash guard's just an Under Armour shirt, so I gotta.
No, dude, you've got to get outlandish as you possibly can. Short of dyeing your beard rainbow sherbet colors, right? Like, just go as absolutely ostentatious as you possibly can with your rash guard equipment.
You know, rainbow sherbet beard colors might not be a bad idea.
Just saying.
Well, I think we did a really good job at this. Actually, we cracked through a bunch. I mean, there's so much crap we could talk about. We could get into.
We could easily do 2 or 3 more episodes on this shit.
Well, I think we should do that. I think we should space them out about a month apart. And keep going, because we haven't gone into the tools yet that are in the rigs. We haven't gone into paper navigation and compasses.
Oh Lord!
Right?
Yeah.
We haven't gone into the medical shit at all. Really, emergency med kit stuff. Other than have one and have medicine.
How do you even know you're buying the right kit, right?
Right. We haven't gone into like footwear. Like I could get into a whole I could do a 2-hour podcast on fucking footwear. We haven't gone into camp comfort. We haven't talked sleeping bags. There's so goddamn much. So, till we meet again.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, man. But I mean, all in all, great episode. What do you got for our sign off,
bro?
In closing, the sign off's my gig. What do you got in closing?
So I've got a couple classes coming up in the spring. Got some private corporate gigs coming up that I'm really excited about. That should be mentioned. I don't mention it enough. There's like 3 local corporations that keep booking me for private gigs. So if you're interested in doing that for the training aspect of things, I'd love to come in and do that. Whether you're a church or whether you're a bank or anybody else, if you feel like you need a local kind of corporate gig, I'd love to help you in the gun training space. Private lessons are you better at this point be real happy with a private lesson from Justin or Hirsch or maybe somebody else down the line, because like my private lesson calendar is getting pretty crazy, staying pretty crazy, I should say. Coming up to TACCon, if y'all are going out to TACCon, Tactical Conference, coming up at the end of March, you'll be seeing me out at Tactical Conference, Range Master. I'll be the guy that beats Zach Cox in the shooting match. Once I beat Zach Cox in the shooting match, I don't give a fuck what happens the rest of the weekend, but that's my first and primary focus and priority. So sorry, Zach, you lose. I was talking to Tim Herron about this, and Tim was like, fuck you, neither of you are winning. Congratulations on second place. And I was like, okay, Tim. But, Tim Herron will probably beat me. There's several humans there that will probably beat me, but I am determined to fuck Zach up. That's all I know about that. So we got stats coming. Range Master, Super Duper Master class is coming. So that's that whole thing. Yeah, that's a good question. Xenia, Ohio. Paging Scott Cronin. Yes, I'll be back to Xenia, Ohio. Can't tell you when yet because that isn't scheduled, but we'll be doing that damn thing for sure. Because I do love me some gun set. Trying to think of what else. I don't know, man. Do some shit you're uncomfortable with. I saw speaking of Xenia, Ohio, one of my alum, a guy by the name of Zaniel, posted match results from what I do believe to be his first shooting competition. I was really pleased to see a student get out there and compete after taking our class. And, we hearkened, like, we were hammering on, hey, go train, go compete, then go train. I know I'm not the only person that he's had a class from to tell him to compete, but really glad to see guys like that doing that kind of stuff. Get on the mat, go get jiu-jitsu, go get judo, go get something, go get a striking class, go get in the gym, stop relying on just guns, go take a med class. Yeah. And buy a knife from TJ. TJ, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but TJ has a lot of time on his hands. He basically sits around all day just waiting for somebody to call him and say, hey, you know what? I need a knife. So, like, pay TJ. TJ is so bored for knife making. I'll bet at this point, for about $1,000, you could get him to make you a knife. Maybe.
It's funny you mentioned that because my next project is going to be a Damascus chef's knife for a buddy of mine.
Right. That's knife maker speak for. Yeah, that motherfucker's going to be about $1,000.
Yeah, easily.
Right.
Just to put things into perspective, right? Like just the billet of steel for of a Damascus pattern is going to run me about $300 to $400.
Yeah,
that is literally for a lump of steel that I can turn into a knife, right? Not to mention the handle material that I had to be on a waiting list for 6 months to get. So this one's going to take some time because I want it to be perfect.
One more thing for my sign off, because we've gotten away from dad jokes. How did the little rock increase his courage? How did the little rock increase his courage?
I don't know.
He got bolder.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
You're welcome.
Oh, God. Are you done?
I think I'm done now.
Okay. Awesome. Oh, by the way, Terrell, Insane Clown Posse or Limp Bizkit, all hands down, baby. Give me something to break. That's all I need. All right. Things coming up for me, right? So doubling down on my training efforts. We've got the Pan American Championships in Kissimmee, Florida at the end of March. So come on out and root for your homeboy. Should be a good time. Should be fighting Saturday at the end of March. Going to be a good time. Good team coming. Going to be cool to be in my own my old stomping grounds in Central Florida. So looking forward to that experience as well.
You gonna stop by the old gun store?
You know, I just might. We'll see what happens. I actually did stop by there last time I was in Florida, early last year. Completely different setup, but it is what it is. But yeah, I might just swing by just for grins. Trading coming up, guys, be on the lookout for on the calendar on greenmountaindefense.com. Kent and I have been, as you guys might know, I've come out and I've AI'd for Kent a few times. We do still have some improvements or modifications and enhancements to the rifle curriculum that Kent's put together, taking into account my experience and my background to help bolster that courseware all around in that POI. So really excited about partnering with Kent on that effort. But also looking forward to hitting the road and getting some more training in with you, man. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a productive year. I'm really looking forward to what 2023 has to offer from a training perspective. Guys, we didn't touch on it too much. Just, kind of in closing, right? Kent kind of mentioned it a little bit, but physical fitness, right? We talk about all the equipment and shit that you can have in your vehicle. The reality of the situation is if you're a 400-pound person that looks like the mother from What's Eating Gilbert Grape, you're probably going to have a bad fucking time in, a foot of snow, right? So take care of yourselves. Be mindful of what you're eating. Be mindful of the poison and whatnot you're feeding your body, and take care of yourself, right? No, that's not poison. That is the force which brings life. But you get my idea, right? All things in moderation. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. and be better than you were yesterday, right? But physical fitness is absolutely critical when it comes to sustainability in austere environments, and you'll thank me later. Especially when you can bend over and tie those new weatherproof or waterproof boots without your face turning flush and getting short of breath before you go on that hike to help save your family and your loved ones. Medical equipment, right? darkangelmedical.com is who we recommend. We get no kickbacks from them whatsoever. We do appreciate if you put that the Sling'N Lead Podcast sent you in your order notes so that Kerry Davis over there knows that we're showing him some love. Code BRAVO15 or BB15 specifically will get you 15% off at checkout. But do routinely check out darkangelmedical.com. He has sales all the time that absolutely destroy that 15% discount. It's a day that ends in Y discount day. The dude does discounts all the time on his equipment. It's absolutely critical. If you're not going to carry a gun, you should carry medical. If you carry a gun, you should still carry medical. It's that simple. greenmountaindefense.com/training to check out Kent's calendar. greenmountaindefense.com/affiliate links will allow you to help us continue to deliver the content that we deliver on a regular basis here in the form of the podcast. You're going to buy gun stuff anyway. You might as well buy it from our affiliates that help support our channel. No additional cost to you, and we get a little something on the back end, and it helps us continue to do what we do and what we enjoy doing. Kent and I truly enjoy doing this for you guys, and we hope you like it and enjoy it and appreciate it in kind. With that, that's all the time that we have for this week. Oh, well, actually, I'm going to interrupt myself, Kent, because you didn't. Cam's Ass Kicking Contest shirts. You see an image down there in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Links are down below in the description. Look, our buddy Cam, he's a dear friend of ours. Kent and I love him to death. He and his girlfriend, or now fiance, suffered a catastrophic motorcycle accident where both of them lost limbs. Their lives have been forever changed by this incident because some dickhead decided to text and drive. But they are persevering. Cam might not understand it completely, but he is truly a motivator and an inspiration to Kent and myself. And as he should be an inspiration to so many of you. So if you do feel like contributing, you want to rock out some swag and show off some support to Cam and help spread the message, Cam's Ass Kicking Contest shirts are still available on our Teespring link. If you don't want to buy a t-shirt, you just want to support Cam and Kelsey and their medical bills and their recovery, there's a link to their GoFundMe page as well. Please feel free to contribute to that directly in kind.
Yeah.
But
hold on, just a quick update on Cam. I was talking to him the other day, and they're like, they got to buy a van. They got to buy different wheelchairs again. They got to buy different prosthetics, and those things cost an arm and a leg. So please help them. It would really help get them off on the right foot. I can't every single time. We got to help them get a leg up. This situation really cut them off at the knees financially.
we're going to hell.
I just can't. It's Cam. It's Cam.
Yeah, you know, anybody else would.
Right.
This is one of the reasons he's such an inspiration to us, right? Dude can literally lose a leg and still be one of the funniest motherfuckers on the planet, just because that's him. That is the wonder that is Cam, and we love him. By the way, we need to get him back on the podcast here soon.
Yeah, but seriously, guys, hop on over to his link there and keep your foot in the door.
Yeah, all joking aside, they really do need the help, guys. I don't know if any one of you have ever had a family member or suffered a significant loss or modification to your life like those guys have.
Yeah.
But like guys, the road to recovery is long. Like June 18th on Kent's birthday.
Oh yeah.
The day before my birthday last year is when this happened. They're still in the recovery phase, right? It's such a long and arduous process.
Yeah.
I mean, God love him. God bless him and Kelsey. We still support him as best we can, but they need the help from all of us, and they certainly fucking deserve it. I'm usually one, and I'll be full disclosure, I'm usually one of those people that'll look at a charity and raise an eyebrow and be like, yeah, is this legit? Are you really saving the whales? Or are you just trying to, virtue signal? no, man, these guys are absolutely worth it, and they absolutely deserve every ounce of support that you're willing to give. So like I said, if you don't want to buy a t-shirt, head on over to GoFundMe. Every dollar helps. And we would certainly appreciate it. But that is all the time that we have for this week. God bless you all. Take care of each other. Get out and shoot.
Bye, everybody.